Sorry for the delay. We had doing some tallying in the back. Brooke and Heather were, and we didn't want to start our meeting without having our clerk here to keep the minutes. So I apologize to each of you for running over a few minutes. Of course, our pre-council went a little longer than we had anticipated tonight. So with that being said, now that we're in regular order of business, Chief, you got the our broadcast going? Okay. Want to make sure we have that, and that if you would try to speak up both here in the audience tonight and on the live stream. We've heard that people are saying they can't always hear what we're being said. So I guess we all need to be mindful to try to speak up a little louder. I would like to welcome every one of you to the regular scheduled council meeting tonight. If you would, please keep in mind social distancing, try to stay apart. Some of you, if you want masks or anything, are outside. If you have a phone, please either turn it off or to silent so it won't disrupt us. We're going to open our meeting as we always do. We're going to start with invocation. We hope that y'all will keep our city employee who was injured yesterday in your thoughts and prayers. His very serious injuries that the young man had, and I think further surgery is planned tomorrow for him. But with that being said, we're going to ask Councilmember Allison Reese to lead us in a word of prayer. So if you would stand and then remain standing for the pledge.
Let us pray. Father God, we come to you tonight, and we thank you for your many blessings. And we ask that you put your hand of healing on Quentin and be with him and his family, and also be with those that are hurting or lost loved ones. And we just ask that you allow us to do the business of the city today that would be pleasing to you, Lord, and have your hand guide us and have us make the decisions that are best for the students and best for the citizens, and most of all to you, Lord. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Heather, could you give us a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Little.
Present.
Councilmember Skelton.
Present.
Councilmember
Here.
Butler.
Present.
Councilmember Reese.
Present.
Councilmember Phillips.
Here.
Mayor Barlow.
Here. Please let the record reflect all the elected officials are here, along with the department heads, the assistant city clerk, and our city attorney. First order of business will be the approval of the April the 6th, 2021 meeting. There were some corrections made in the pre-council, so I think with those corrections made, I'll entertain a motion to pass the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve as corrected.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Skelton, seconded by Mr. Little to approve the minutes with the corrections made. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
And those opposed. Approve the minutes from the last meeting. As I said, in recognition tonight, we did have a person scheduled to come, and he had to cancel for some reason earlier today, so we had nobody here for recognitions. I would like to recognize some of those that have come out that have helped with the young man that was injured yesterday. Several people have brought things by, contacted the family, given condolences on just the severity of his injuries, and offering to help. And I think it speaks very high of the community and some of the people that we have in our city that have gone out of their way to be very thoughtful and helpful. So thanks to all of those who did that. And anyway, like I said, hopefully we can get the young man healed and get some good news on that. So just a very tragic incident. Kind of threw a monkey wrench into our plans for this week. It kind of just messed everything up. So okay. In pre-council, we discussed with Mr. Nolfi, and I think he probably addressed all his concerns regarding the generator at the public safety building. Jay, I guess we'll just try to pursue that, let you speak with the chiefs, and let's make a recommendation to the council at the next meeting if accept the offer for the warranty or else do what some have suggested and just try to get a new generator.
Okay.
Okay? That was the only person in pre-council that had said that they wanted to speak, but during our brief intermission that we had, the former mayor, Mr. Tom Williams, who's there in the back, had said that he would like to address the council and discuss some of the grant and the thoughts that's, in the past, and he might shed some light on it. So I certainly welcomed him to come up. So, Mr. Williams, please.
Tom Williams, live at 6357 Gilbert Drive. I would like to thank the council for moving forward with the Go Mesa grant. Thank you so very much for moving forward with that. There was some discussion in pre-council about the kayak launch. When this first came about, I talked with Chris Blankenship at Mobile Bay National Estuary meeting, and he made me aware that the grant was available. We did contact our grant writer, and she got right on it. And she recommended that we make the grant as attractive as we possibly could, and that was the kayak launch. I was not in favor of the kayak launch being where motorized boats are going to be coming and going. I think that's unwise, but it's in there. And so if it can be moved, Robbie indicated that it might be moved to another location. We have a kayak launch. It's in a perfect location. But anyway, we did get the grant, and that was the important part. And so if something could be done, like I say, that's just my opinion. Others may feel differently. I know Mr. Phillips expressed some concern about the kayak launch being there where people are coming and going with motorized boats. So just a thought, but that's the reason it was in the plan. But it's a great grant, and the educational classroom at the end would be a wonderful addition. And everything down there is just about to fall in anyway, so this is a great time to get it done. That's right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Is there anyone else that would like to come before the council tonight? Yes, ma'am, Ms. Smith. Come.
I have a couple things. My name is Casey Smith. First, as far as the public worker that was was hit yesterday, citizens have asked, and so we put a box at the police station with cards. The box is intended to hold gift cards such as gas cards and grocery cards and fast food cards, so the family doesn't have to worry about that. I've been told Crystal's going to take that to the family when we get ready, and there's also 4 Get Well cards. So I posted that on Facebook for people that don't. It is at the station. To me, it was just the best place, and I talked to Chief about it.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I did meet with everyone that y'all asked me to meet with at the last council meeting as far as my mother-in-law's house on Cordova. What we had decided is that we need to, it looks like we actually buried the fence the way the dirt has washed on to it. And obviously that's not the case. That's just we have put so much dirt in there to fill this hole in that it's starting to wash a little bit. My mother-in-law's a CPA, so she doesn't have time right this second. And my husband works out of town a lot, so we just have not gotten to it. We are going to get to it. But what I'm asking now that I'm assuming the city engineer and the city attorney is here and the council is my mother-in-law's fence is a foot off of her property line. But the fence behind her, and I actually have pictures of it that I gave to the last council, but I do have them again if you'd like, is directly on top of my mother-in-law's fence, and it's quite higher. Even if we dig our end out, the water's still going to hit his. Mr. Elmore and Crystal and all them went back there. They found that there is a ditch back there. It really just needs to be cleaned out. My mother-in-law's fence does need to be replaced, but at the same time, I don't see the purpose of replacing it just yet until we know everything that we're going to do and it's all fixed. I'm asking if it's even possible. The man was not very nice when he put the fence up, so I'm asking, is it possible for somebody to go over there and say, hey, your fence is a little too far over, we need you to move it. Everybody else actually feeds off my mother-in-law's fence. He is the only double fence in our part. And I'm just seeing if that's a possibility as well. I do know that this is not going to happen overnight. I've been told that several times, but we've got to get it in motion. There is an easement, there is a right-of-way. I just need to see what we can do as far as once we do that part. I mean, because his fence is still there.
After the last meeting, I did ask Crystal to get with James Elmore, who does work with us a couple days a week, and I felt like he probably would have more knowledge of the ditch and the problems that's been going on than any of us up here. Crystal, could you shed some light on, didn't y'all go over there that day? I know you made some pictures of the fence and,
We did, as well as Tom joined us, we went and looked at it, we actually walked around her property as well as around and up between the properties. There is an easement on not her property, but the one behind her, there is a 7.5 foot easement. There is not an easement on hers, there is not a ditch back there. What we did discuss is that suggested clean off that fence, it would give it some flow for that water to get out of her yard. And once we could assess that better, then we would possibly move forward with getting with the city engineer and pursuing, the requirements, what we would need to do to engineer a ditch behind their house to get a ditch there.
Now, y'all said there was something back there, so is it not necessarily considered a ditch, but more of a swell, as y'all were referring to?
There was a little bit of a swell, but it's not a ditch. So between Tom and James and myself, we would have to have the engineer out there to engineer a ditch, and we would have to get easements from her side of the property all the way down. There's fences all along there, there's trees, there are buildings on there that would have to be taken into account.
We're not talking about like a massive ditch. We're talking about something that could be just a small, no concrete, no nothing, just a simple, because even Mr. Elmore mentioned just some shovel work. We're not talking about a whole neighborhood of yards, water. We're just talking about 4 or 5 yards that are, I think it's 3 or 4, between my mother-in-law to the main drainage ditch that's flooding on the Cordova side. It doesn't have to be anything major.
I
just think if he was told by an official, if that's possible, to, hey, you got to move your fence. Because I do believe it says it has to be at least 6 inches off your property line.
That's a civil matter there. That's
Right, and
not a city.
I understand that part, but if it's impeding on the city's easement, does that not?
Well, like I say, it'd take a survey to find out if it's on the easement.
Well, the easement is on their side. They have a 7.5 foot easement on their side. There is no easement on the Cordova Avenue side of this. And if he was just to say, hey, it's not even on your property, but you're supposed to have whatever is told to say, hey, your fence is at least supposed to be 6 inches off of your property line, and it's no way it is, and then that's what's impeding this, then I think that would come better than just us saying, hey, you're flooding our yard, can you move your fence? Because like I said, 4 to 5 backyards back up to my mother-in-law's, she is they all share her fence except for that back portion. And the easement doesn't go, the drainage easement that's on the plat doesn't go the entire length of my mother-in-law's backyard. It just starts right there where this doesn't even hold. The whole grassy area until it starts going uphill is very soggy. But the part that actually holds water, that doesn't have any grass there, that's about where the drainage easement stops. I mean, it would take a surveyor to actually get the exact, but it's pretty much at that end of it. It's not the entire length of her backyard.
Crystal, last week, y'all showed me some pictures of a yard that had the, yeah, please bring them up. I did have them make some pictures.
So some of these are some that she provided, and some are the ones that I took as well.
Smith, yeah, I was going to ask, is this the backyard of your mother-in-law's house that we're talking about?
this is the backyard. The dirt that she's wanting us to move is where we've already filled this in, and it's now washed up to this corner. This tree is gone, a storm took it out. This big fence is what we're talking about. It is directly up against hers. The neighbor here and all of these other neighbors just share her one fence. It's this fence that's up against hers that I'm still thinking that's gonna it's on this side of that swell that they're talking about. Yes, this is her backyard, and this is about
Is all that water in her backyard or on the easement?
it's in her backyard. This is the neighbor's backyard that's right next to her on Cordova. No, the easement on the other side of the fence. This is her backyard. I actually have not been to the neighbors. This is the plat for, is it Gunnison? Okay, I think it's Gunnison Lane, and this is their plat. This shows the drainage easement, and then this is the city's. That's actually the easement and the drainage issue, measurements do not come on the plat for, the actual plat for Cordova Avenue and the, lot numbers.
They got a hill.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the print. I'm curious if it would even drain if you had the easement cleaned out with the hump back there by that fence.
Well, that's what I'm gonna say. That's washed out since we've put it there. So there was a shed there, and I tore it down 3 years ago. And that's where we found, it was it was raised. And when I tore it down, I found all the water underneath it. And I'm like, ooh, this is why it's kind of bad. And when we tore it down, her yard man started bringing in dirt to fill it in, and it took several loads of dirt just to get it to where it would be dry. Well, since we've had all this rain over the last, he's been slowly filling it in for the last 3 years. We've had all this rain, especially, here lately, it's washed a lot of that dirt up against that fence. Because everything that we've looked at, if we fix our issue, it's going to flood someone else. And then that in turn, it becomes a civil issue, and then they now can come back on us versus this happened. And
Ms. Smith, I know the other yard you was showing on the pictures, but are you familiar with like the one directly behind you with the bigger fence? Is there more than one or two neighbors has got that problem also, or
no,
is
sir,
it?
the only people that have the flooding issue are the houses on Cordova, from my mother-in-law's house to the drainage ditch the city put in. Everybody behind, and then once you get down towards the drainage ditch, Miss Salter's land that kind of went flat. Everybody else behind my mother-in-law, their yard kind of slopes down. They sit more up on a hill, so all of theirs flow to that back. And I actually have not looked at anybody's backyard, and I'm not tall enough to see over the fence to see how steep that gentleman's is, and she is right. There is two very nice big sheds that are permanent. They're not like portable building sheds, on either side. One in somebody's backyard on Cordova, and then one in somebody's backyard on this other street, that I'm not sure how close. Do we need 25 feet? No. But there is a 7.5-foot easement on the other side, and the city has access we've offered access from ours. But the city has access from their drainage ditch, their lot. I guess the city owns that whole lot and then put in the drainage ditch. I mean, it's been thrown at me so many different ways, where it's the old planning commission done it, and well, okay, still it was allowed. The lot next to her, when she bought that house, she's the only owner of that house. When she bought it, she never thought anybody would be in that lot because it was so low. And the homeowner brought in so much dirt, and we looked at that as well. They have a lot of dirt in their backyard. Their backyard holds water all over the place. They need to level it out or, do something. The way their yard is pushing water into us as well, but it all still has nowhere to go. And I'm all for digging the dirt out. It's just gonna take my husband actually being home for a few days for us to do it. But that's not going to fix the problem, and I need this I know it's not gonna happen overnight, and I just need to get it going.
Chris, do you have anything else you could add that may help clarify this, or do we need to go over there? I mean, I don't understand how we'd have ever gotten a 7.5-foot easement. I mean, I'm confused about that.
And as far as getting any kind of equipment back there, that's not gonna happen. We can get back there with shovels and try to do something, but like Councilman Phillips stated, if, that water's not gonna go anywhere until the fence is cleaned off, and then we'll have to get the engineer.
You know, I'm kind of wondering if the fence that I was fixed, would it drain now? I mean, how do you know it won't? I mean, there's no way to know until.
Because the water wasn't like that when the dirt wasn't like that when I moved the building. That dirt's and it still wasn't draining. It was just a lot deeper.
Well, what I'm sitting here thinking, if that fence filled in, that water was draining to that fence, or it wouldn't be back filled up with dirt. In other words, it did move in that direction.
Oh, it's moving. It's just not going anywhere once it gets there. I mean, we're not the only ones having the issue. It's not just, okay, well, you dig out your fence and it's gonna fix it. It's not, I mean, Miss Salter put in thousands of dollars worth of drainage just to get her backyard to drain. I've spoke with everyone. There's 4 houses, my mother-in-law, her neighbor, and 2 more between us and the ditch. And I spoke with all but one, and every one of them, I can look at the next door neighbors, it's clearly flooding. In fact, one of those pictures is of his yard and the house at the end. The city did come in and put something in his yard as well, to get it to drain. He said his was going all the way up to his he has the portable building, and it was going all the way up into it, and he got the city to come in there. He's got the hole in the ground with the concrete cover on top of it versus a regular ditch. That's just what he has in his yard, and I'm assuming it flows into that ditch. So it's not just our issue, it's the entire side of Cordova's issue. I mean, I'm willing to do it, it's just going to take me a minute. We just met the Tuesday after the council meeting, so a little over a week ago, and so we just haven't had time, but at the same time, it's also going to take more than just us doing one thing to fix it.
Okay. I'll tell you what, let's study it a little more, and perhaps in the next not too distant future, you can move some of the dirt, as we've said, and see if that will help. And then we'll look and see
Okay.
if there's anything we can do. And perhaps we can speak with the other neighbors, get their address, or get some of their input would be also, good to have them.
Does the city have the right to, because there is standards that when you put a fence up, you have codes or whatever, does the city have the right to go speak to that gentleman if they find out that his is not on the 6 foot off of his property line? Does the city have the right to go and ask him to move it?
I would say if somebody's put a structure on a right-of-way that's preventing the water from running in any way, then we would have a right to do
Okay.
something at that point.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to come before the council tonight? Okay, then we will go into our regular order of business then. I'm gonna make mine pretty fast tonight. I think we covered all of it in the pre-council. Told you we'd received a card of a thank you regarding the senior meals program every day. A lady wrote us thanking us for helping her mother and the value that the program provides for her family. The road paving projects, we have had some input from the MPO, and in the next few days, hopefully they will clarify what requirements they will need for us to apply for the money that they have received for the municipalities in Mobile County. And the way it looks, all the municipalities were not eligible, but we are eligible as one of them. And I've told y'all some of the projects that we are trying to submit, but Kevin Harrison thought today it may require some engineering from us. You heard me ask Chief Harrell to let's try to watch these dog complaints, the vicious dog complaints. We've had several in the last couple of weeks. I guess people, school being out, some of that point, people starting to run, exercise, bike on some of the pretty days. So we're going to keep that in mind. Tom Brienne and I rode around. We are starting, and he's supposed to be getting with Jay, with you, and with Brooke to proceed on some demolition of some houses that are eyesores and that we're having complaints on. And I hope at the next meeting to come back and tell y'all what what houses we've targeted to get started on, but that's just the key, is getting started. Remember, don't set anything for the 12th through the 15th, for us during the league meeting. We were fortunate enough to get our doors fixed here. We haven't got the bill yet, but hopefully we're moving forward with that. I think we're going to use court funds to pay for that. Chief, we're still proceeding with looking at the cameras and all for the building here. So I know you put together some preliminary stuff a little while back, so we can perhaps use that fund also to do that. I think that'd be well worth it. Everything else I think we'd covered in pre-council. I don't have anything else. So with that being said, I'll go to Public Services and start with Mr. Little.
Mayor, we did mention the blighted homes and properties. Also, only other thing I wanted to mention, our inspection department, we have been working, we just issued a CO for a new business, so hopefully we'll have a new business opening up soon. That's all, Mayor.
Thank you. Going to Public Safety, Mr. Butler.
Mayor, I don't have anything tonight.
That's going quick. Mr. Skellin.
Yeah, I would like to extend a big welcome to Chalkboard Kitchen. Sure many of you have seen their ads on Facebook and may have even went by and enjoyed some of their food. Before the council meeting today, I was able to swing by the hospital and visit with Mr. Carl Smith, who is Quentin's father. And he expressed his thanks to all who have reached out to him and his family and brought them food. And he asked that you keep them, continue to keep them in your prayers. They know it's going to be a tough road ahead. And he's got a surgery lined up tomorrow that two doctors will be operating at the same time on two different parts. So just keep him in your thoughts and prayers. And also in pre-council, I brought up a request from Pierce Auto Sales to vacate the right-of-way that splits their property in half, with the understanding that the owner will provide a 20-foot easement to Satsuma Water and Sewer for maintenance of the gravity collection system for the sewer. We've discussed that, and we will bring it up at the next meeting. I'd like to add that as an agenda item for the next meeting if we can. And that's all I have.
Skelton, he'll need to file a written request. There's a form, Heather.
I'll get it. Thank you.
Once again, I'm going to stay out of that. That is my cousin's property, but I think he's already said that it would have to be posted and all, just the way we do any vacation of property. Moving on to Parks and Recreation, Ms. Reese.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to remind everybody that the pavilion is available for rental if you want to have your party at the splash pad. Splash pad alone is not available for rental, but the pavilion itself is. There are two sides, and you can contact City Hall for rates and availability. Also, the ball fields at Wright and Lions Park are now available to groups and organizations interested in using the fields. They can go through the process of contacting City Hall and renting the fields when the youth association is not using them. So that will be something new. And also, thanks to the Women's Club for the umbrellas at the entrances of the city. They're really cute. That's it.
Mr. Phillips from Public Works.
Yes, Mayor, I have this, the bids on the damaged car. You want to do that now or down when you come down the list?
You've brought it up. Let's go ahead and address it now.
Mr. Benny Hollins had turned in a claim to the city from when we was cutting grass, it actually throwed a rock and damaged his car. And we have 3 bids here that were submitted to fix the car. The first bid is from Walker Frame and Body Shop, $1,078.82. The second one was from Mullinex Ford, and it's for $751.30. And the last bid was Thompson's Paint Body, which is $530.50. So I would like to put in form of motion that we do pay Mr. Hollins here for the damage we created to his vehicle and award the bid to Thompson Paint Body Shop.
Motion made by Mr. Phillips and seconded by Mr. Butler to pay for the damage that was done to Mr. Hollis's truck, I think by weed eating, grass cutting crew. Crystal, you saying all the paperwork was in order and documented? Okay, with that being said, motion and second on the floor. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, we'll pay him to get it.
Okay, and we also brought up in pre-council about the fee that we was charging for the local real estate companies to get a letter based on the sewer fees, whether they'd been paid or not on the easements. The biggest problem I had with that is that hadn't been brought before the council. And so I pretty much would like to either a council member make a motion that we do this $10 fee, or if they so be it, not to, and we stop it. But if the council feels like it needs to be put in form of motion.
I move that we create a $10 fee to be charged for looking up, Heather, help,
Assessments for properties.
and assessments for properties.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Reese that we start assessing realtors. Is that, or anybody that comes up? You said realtors, but it would have
Well,
to be anybody.
that's who
coming
usually
up.
comes, but anybody,
To assess anyone coming up requesting a clearance or make sure that there's no sewer assessment on property. All right, we got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from anybody else? All those in favor signify by aye,
Aye.
and those opposed.
No.
I'm gonna go no on that also, joining you, Mr. Phillips, on that. So let it show the motion passed 4-2. You got any other business, Mr. Phillips?
That's all.
Now we're going to item 8 items for discussion and/or consideration. First item is payment of the bills.
I'll make a
Skip.
motion to pay the bills in the amount of $53,247.05.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Skelton and seconded by Ms. Reese to pay the bills in the said amount. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, let it show it passed. Item number 2, as I know some of y'all were here last night, we had school board interviews. We had 4 people that applied for the position. We had 4 great applicants. I didn't hear anything but positive talk on all of the applicants. So to those of you that did apply for it or had people contact, thank you. But everybody turned in 4 sheets with all 4 of the people where they could make notes and/or give a score. All the council members turned it in. The person who received the highest number of votes was Miss Linda Robbins. She is the current school board member. I think our agreement had been that we would have a discussion and question everybody, and whoever had the highest number of votes would be appointed, or in this case, reappointed. So with that being said, that's how the vote turned out. So
I move that we appoint Miss Linda Robbins to the Satsuma City School Board.
let me reappoint her. You said appoint, but you meant reappoint, and Miss Robbins.
Yes, sir.
Got a motion to reappoint Miss Linda Robbins to the school board. Allison has made a motion. Is there a second to it? Motion been made by Allison and seconded by Mr. Butler for the reappointment of Miss Robbins. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
And those opposed. Congratulations, Miss Robbins, you're reappointed to the school board.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Item number 4 is consideration of the voting delegates at the Alabama League Convention to be held in Huntsville on May 12th through the 15th. In pre-council, it was decided that Bubba would be the voting delegate, Mr. Little and myself would be the alternating delegates, 1 and 2 respectively, I guess we can put it that way. Can I get a motion from someone to put that in front? Motion made by Mr. Butler,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Skelton. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, show it passed unanimous. There was some discussion on the estimates for the roof repair at Steel Creek Lodge. We've had discussion about that at a couple of council meetings. I think, Ms. Reese, you've heard what my opinion is on that. So I think we had an estimate from Sun Roofing for a little under $4,000 to try to get started.
I move that we accept the lowest responsible bidder to repair the roof at Steel Creek Lodge. We did have 3 bids. First bid, the highest bid was from Supreme Painting for $8,430. Then MSB Homes, $4,280. And then Sun Builders was the lowest at $3,915. And all of these bids are for the same scope of work.
Well, I would like to say I noticed the scope of work, and I like the bids going out a lot better like that. That way we know we're telling everybody, and they're bidding on the same project, and it looks so much more professional, and we kind of detail what we're getting.
Yeah, it looks really
So
good.
thank you for doing that.
And the current roof is estimated 10 to 20 years old. So we feel like
We'll get an answer to that.
feel like there's life left in it, and we want to go ahead and get on the list, just with the lack of availability of roofers and materials. We want to go ahead and get that started.
Motion made by Ms. Reese and seconded by Mr. Phillips to replace the roof with Sun, do the repair with Sun Roofing. That was the low bidder. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
And any of those opposed? Passed unanimous again. Number 6, consideration payment to the City of Creole in the amount of $5,000 for reimbursement on any and all claims for monies paid for training expenses for our former police officer, Blake Bosarge.
I make a motion, we approve.
Second the motion.
Mr. Butler has made the motion to pay, and Mr. Little seconded it to resolve this lawsuit. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Let it show it passed unanimous. Number 7, consideration to enter into an agreement with Goodwin Mills and Kaywood for engineering services on the Go Mesa grant. Did you want to?
I move that we enter into an agreement with Goodwin Mills and Kaywood for engineering services on the Go Mesa grant.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Reese and seconded by Mr. Skelton to go ahead and enter into an agreement with the engineering firm, Goodwin Mills and Kaywood, on the Go Mesa grant at Steel Creek Lodge. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, show it passed unanimous. Consideration of signing the AT&T UVerse Video Services Renewal Agreement. Speaking with Jay tonight in pre-council, he suggested that we perhaps speak with some of the other cities and see what they are doing, and to look at reducing the length of time that they wanted to make this contract for. I tend to agree with him. Those services seem to be changing so rapidly that I'm hesitant to enter into a long-term agreement. And Heather, you said we have till about the end of next month to do that?
Yes, sir.
So if it's okay with the council, I would entertain a motion and that we just table this for maybe till the second meeting of May, until we can study it a little further and see what some of the other cities are doing.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Skelton and seconded by Mr. Little that we table that until we can study it more and put it back on the agenda on the second meeting in May. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Well, at least we agreed on almost everything tonight, folks. That's all the things that we have on the agenda. Like I said, if we hear anything more on our injured worker or anything that really changes, I'll try to make sure that Heather or Crystal keeps y'all advised on that. But other than that, that's all the business that we have.
I move we adjourn.
Motion made by Allison, seconded by Jason, go adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank all of you for attending. Thank all of you for attending tonight.